another individual that has opened up businesses or has started some business down in Nashville, frequents Nashville, loves Nashville, is Dr. Jeff Pierce, who joins us every Thursday. What's going on, my guy?
A ton. It's a beautiful day. What are we all talking about?
18-game season. It seems like Roger Goodell is lobbying for. There's more money and more games, and also the Nashville Stadium that will be opened up in about 2 years. It's the Tennessee Titans' new stadium, $2 billion. And so when you build a stadium that is inside or outside, you know what you get? You get a Super Bowl like the Lions did in 2006. That sounds good for you, man. What's going on in Nashville, man? Do I need to come down there?
Absolutely. You're always welcome to come.
I appreciate that.
It is fun. Tennessee's fun, but to talk about the business, look, as much as we want to break everything up and do all this and doctor this and secret sauce, it comes down to the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
NFL, we proved it here. NFL draft, we broke all the records. They got it. They are king. You always see who controls the situation. Not to go to insurances, but whoever's holding the money, they hold what the situation's going to be. As far as go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As far as the 18-game thing, yeah, is it going to be more wear and tear? Are you increasing?
Guys are breaking down now with 16 games. Doc, I played in the league. I know how those games get, how those months get, how it gets grueling in the wintertime as you're trying to put it together. As you've been miserable since August. Then they went to 17. Now they're going to 18. Bodies can only take so much. Am I not correct?
Bodies can only take so much. You're at risk every time you go out there. But how do you want to discuss this? Are we in favor? Are we against? We can argue both ways. How many games are you playing in college? How many games did you play in college?
We played 11
games.
Played 11 games.
How many games are you playing now in college?
15 to win it.
15 to win.
15 to win it.
So how many
now
games?
They've added another one with the playoff system the way it is. So now you got 16 to win.
Right. So what's
the NFL schedule?
Yeah. NFL's like, you should be playing 18 games. You're playing 16 in college. So there's an argument for and against it. But at the end of the day, it's money. They don't care about the players because there's a next man up.
Anson, I open this up to you. My biggest thing with this is the more games you add to a schedule, now more than ever it becomes. It's not, and even now it's like that, but to a certain extent, it's not the best team that's going to win these Super Bowls with 18 games. It's going to be the healthiest team.
Right.
Like the more games you add, that's why I wasn't in favor of 12 teams. I said you don't need 12 teams to figure out who's the best in college football. Look, you got 4 teams. That's all you need. You figure it out from those 4. You add extra games. Now you add extra probability chance for guys to get injured. And I know it's a part of the game, but it's a part of the game that used to be. Now you're adding extra games. Anybody get hurt.
Well, and you're talking about on the field. This speaks to how good your entire organization is. You got guys like Doc here. You're going to be healthy, and you're going to be one of those hot teams at the end of the year. You get some of these other franchises that haven't figured out their medical department,
right?
And they're injured all year long. The Lions were a team plagued by injuries up until this new regime showed up.
Right.
I don't know who they hired. Maybe Doc's over there, but they've figured it out, and they've been able to get guys that have been injured that might not have seen the field again. Come on, Laporta's catching touchdowns after he should be missing 2 weeks. So it really—
That's because he's a strong country boy from Iowa. Like they just built different down
just
there.
Country, it's like cornbread, huh?
I hated playing Iowa. Like them jokers they built different down there.
Yeah.
I think we need a reality show for the medical team. And I think Woodward Sports, that should be our new niche. Going in for the reality of what's going on behind the scenes.
I asked this question, Doc. Like, what happens if your franchise, your quarterback gets hurt in game 18 as you're in a playoff push? Like game 7, there's 17 games now. I just think the more games you add, the more people get hurt. Like, you want the best of the best. Keep it 17. Why do you need an 18th game? Because if you get an 18th game, what's to stop him from 19? The season and how it changes?
You'll be at 20. Oh, yeah. The fans demand. It's not like the fans aren't going to show up for the 18th game.
It's not about the fans. It's about the players. I think this is when
not. Unfortunately,
it's not about the players, though, Bray.
What I'm saying is a player lockout. Like, we know what happens at the top percent of the league. They can afford the lockout. The back half can't. That's typically when lockouts are closed. But at some point, the players got to stand up for themselves.
But more games means
dangle more cash.
More games means more revenue, right, which means higher contracts, right?
At the end of the day, they're making a ton of money now. Like
they want even more.
Like Patrick Mahomes' next contract, he'll be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Was a $1.5 billion now? That's the going rate.
Yep.
I mean, look, it's good for these players. I just think, as you are a doctor, that wear and tear on the body, like guys can't have extended careers. But I think that may be the side effect of it. You'll get through the 18 games, but guys won't be playing 16, 17, 18, 19 years anymore. You'll see the early trend of guys retiring early. It won't be a trend anymore. It'll just be a real thing.
But the other side of this argument is our medical care is getting better. Our preparation is better. Teaching them what to do,
You
how
can only
to
put a guy
maintain.
back together so many times.
Right, but we can create prevention too. The game's supposed to be safer. They're taking things out of the game because of injuries, like the kickoff system. They're trying to improve it. Yeah. So there's a give and take, right? Goodell's giving, okay, we're going to do this to protect our quarterback, to protect our linemen. We're doing things to make the game safer, but it's disguising that we want to make more money, right? So make the game safer. It's definitely safer than it was even when you played, but even 20 years ago. I mean, these guys just played through it. So the equipment you're using is supposed to be better. The training's supposed to be better. You're supposed to be better prepared for it.
No, I was going to say, speaking of injuries, speaking of playing through stuff, Kristaps Porzingis, big man for the Boston Celtics, and calf strain.
I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, I've strained my calf before, never to the tune where I need to come out of the game, but I understand injuries because I had a growing injury. People can't see a growing injury, but I knew I couldn't play, so I understand it. What do they got to do to get him on the court? How bad can this calf injury be? Like, you guys are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Doc, shed some light. Calf industries, go.
They're winning, so they're going to let them sit and rest. They start losing, they're going to push them. Like, they're lucky they win the first game. Yeah. But that's the thing. Can we win without him? Is he better for us to be 100% in play? Like we've always talked about, what's the locker room conversation? You're right. It's a calf injury. I feel 80%. Okay, well, we won. Let's see what happens. Let's get you to 100 because we need you for sure in the finals. Is that the conversation? Most likely. They lose 2 games in a row. I bet you he's in the lineup.
I like it. Joe, you were talking off air, and we were talking about NBA players feeling the need to rush back because of load management, because of certain amount of games that they restrict you to play. Ask Doc about that, man. This is a great time to ask him, do you think? Ask the question you asked me.
Yeah, so I was saying with the NBA, they have now a new implemented rule where players have to play 65 games to be able to get like certain awards like MVP, All NBA, stuff like that. So do you think it's going to be more harmful for players now to like try to rush back to get to that game measure? Like a player that may be teetering at like 63 games, if they take time to rest for the full injury, like do you think that's going to play into more injuries, players trying to rush back?
It's just another one of those, we put everything on a scale, right? And we weigh the scale. So, if it's Seth Curry, where, there's a handful of guys that are going for those awards. Everybody else doesn't really care, right? So Seth Curry, no, you're not going to jeopardize a multi-million-dollar franchise player over an award.
Well, it was more so.
The medical's always going to overtake.
I was going to say it was more so in our discussion. I should have prefaced with that. It was more so in our discussion about Joel Embiid, so the 76ers best player.
Because he came back and got hurt.
Yeah.
Or was still hurt.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was still hurt when he came back.
Yeah, I mean, there's situations, but we play the odds, right? Like we call it's medical practice. There's no crystal ball that we are for sure. I always tell this silly story. You got back pain, you may re-injure reaching for the toilet paper while you're on the toilet.
Hey.
I mean, you can't predict it. You just put yourself in the best situation, know your body. Like I just was with, we're talking about pickleball a couple days ago. They're trying to get me to be Dr. Pickleball, but that's the same thing. It's like, when is this injury happening? Is it the end? Is it the beginning? We talked about weightlifting.
Yeah.
There's more injuries putting the weights back on the rack sometimes than lifting. Because you're not watching your form. You're just throwing it back on the rack.
People that don't lift weights and don't understand, clearly, I enjoy that process. But
I have to throw it in every show.
Part of the workout is putting the weights back. Like that's part of the workout in terms of like getting the proper leverage, making sure you're bending your knees, not just your back. All that's a part of the workout and getting it in, man. It should legitimately, there should be tension the whole time you're doing exercise.
That's right. On the release also.
Side note, you said something funny. You can get injured on the toilet when reaching for toilet paper. When was the first time like your girl, now your wife, like caught you?
I don't know where you're going, but we're going.
What?
No, I got caught in the bathroom yesterday, like for the very first time. It was very awkward. Like my girl, I was using the bathroom.
Okay.
I was going number two.
Okay, I gotcha.
It was very awkward. It's very,
What, the air freshener was too far away?
like, it was very awkward.
I had to reach for the air freshener before she got there.
I was like, no, that would have been terrible. I couldn't have recovered from that, man. But just in general, I'm like, oh man,
the visual for the audience is beautiful right now.
You know what? Look, man, they listen, they tune in every day. They deserve a little peek behind the curtain. So,
Had no idea where you were going with that.
That was definitely a peek behind the curtain. No. It was a funny story about myself. But more with Dr. Jeff Pierce. What's going on with you golf wise? What's coming up? Because I'm excited. Rocket Mortgage. I'm planning the media outing on the 3rd.
Oh, look at
you. So
you.
that kind of launches into Rocket Mortgage, which I think is the 25th through the 30th of this coming month, which is June. I'm excited, man. Rocket Mortgage has gotten better and better and better each year. That one, and I think the Mark Wahlberg outing are two big ones that I like going to.
Yeah, I mean, Rocket Mortgage, hats off to Detroit. I mean, we've done well. There's been some type of excitement at every one of those tournaments. I think it's a great turnout for Detroit. It's just something, like you said, we're excited about what Detroit's doing. Now that I'm traveling more and, we're setting up business elsewhere, they're like, you're from Detroit. It's not like it used to be. I mean, they talk about the Lions. They talk about downtown.
It's received well now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a positive
curious.
spin on it finally. I'm going to Memphis. I'm a little scared. I thought Memphis was like all about the Grizzlies and flying to Memphis. I hear
Memphis bucking is a real thing, as they call it. Memphis bucking. Golf. You excited at all for the season? You don't golf, right?
I mean, I've frisbee golf, but I'm not
that's right. We had this conversation.
We'll get out.
You don't like hockey. You don't like golf.
I worked at a golf course for 8 years.
You like baseball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I want a
I got
question.
stitches all over my face.
Tennis?
From
How do we watch a baseball game right now?
If you're a Tigers fan, you can't. If you're a Tigers fan, you can't. You can talk to Maz and Ryan Ermanni about that. Like they talk to their blue in the face about the options that Bally Sports, not their fault. It's Diamond Sports Production, Maz. Is that what it is? I think they can't get the deal done with the MLB. So Bally's has to suffer in each state, each city, each location. So it's not Bally's fault. It is the parent company that owns them.
So who's watching baseball?
Well, it's as bad as the Tigers are, not me, because they keep losing. They're now 9.5 games back, in which we talked about. You saw early on they were this, they were that. They were a fraud that was playing against the Central Division, and once they got outside the Central Division, started playing some good teams. Hell, they got swept by the Oakland Athletics.
Yikes!
Hey, let that sink in. They just let that sink in.
With no injuries.
They lost 2-1 to the
healthy.
Marlins. Marlins are almost the worst team in baseball. Like these are the losses that you have. You have a bullpen that is pitching lights out for the most part. Scuba lost his first game yesterday once again because of hitting. They got this bullpen that's keeping you 1-0, 2-0, 1-0, and you can't get any hits. Javi Baez finally picks up a bat in a losing streak. We
can talk about lacrosse.
Tigers. How's your son doing in lacrosse?
Tonight's
He got a big game tonight, right?
Big thing tonight. First game of playoffs out at Divine Child. They're playing Grosse Pointe.
Okay.
So he's crushing it, but he's
Grosse Pointe.
South. They're supposed to be pretty good. But I mean he's a target out there. This lacrosse, I'm into it.
Sport.
It's a hard game, man.
It's a violent sport, man.
It's a violent sport. I mean, he gets decked, put out, the welts on his body, the speed of the game. But you're also seeing the college playoffs, which are, for me, more exciting because I understand it.
Okay.
Not to go off on lacrosse, but the injuries we're seeing in lacrosse, I mean, there's a lot of ACLs. Unfortunately, we've had some on the team and, some silly injuries, including concussions.
When I was younger, I think the best team, or when I was in college, post-college, when I was younger, best teams were Johns Hopkins, UNC, and Duke. Are they still?
Yep, those are the big ones. Syracuse is in there. You know who's killing it is Notre Dame. The Midwest is coming alive.
Notre Dame.
Midwest, Notre Dame. Michigan's got a good team now. Okay. Ohio State's got a good team.
Michigan always figured out. Not be right away, but we will always figure it out.
My ex was all state at Mater Dei in California.
Oh, I know Mater Dei, California. Yeah.
Lacrosse.
Modern day.
It's such an awesome game. I got a chance to play when I was younger, not on like a really organized level, but it's fast and it is hard, and it's just one of the coolest sports out there, I think.